The top Intercontinental Championship matches coming to YouTube. Countdown soon. If you'd like to be involved, give your list. Give us a shout in the comments or get a hold of me. Anyways, Richie Mars, Bron Breakker, Sami Zayn, how excited are you?
I'm pretty pumped. I think they're going to top their Money in the Bank match. And from there, Sami's been having a very good run as Intercontinental Champion. And if you were to tell me that a couple years ago, having a good run with the Intercontinental Championship, you would have called me crazy because there was a period in time, not even 5 years ago, where the Intercontinental Championship wasn't on pay-per-view on a main card for a year. And now that we're getting the consistency back with the Intercontinental Championship actually being a valuable prize to be fought over, I think it's really cool.
Richie, there was like a 10-year period where it wasn't even on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Besides, you know what I mean? Like, it was very sporadic, if that. And if so, it was just to kind of get guys on the card in a ladder match type of thing. So, yeah, the Intercontinental Prestige is back, it seems. A large part of that is the Gunther and the investment in the title run with Gunther, which really established him. You make the title, as the title make you. That's discussion for another day, but it's definitely a keen tool in the growth of superstars, or a keen tool in the transition of superstars that we are seeing here with Sami Zayn. I put my money that Sami Zayn's Intercontinental title run is coming to an end at SummerSlam. What do you think, if that's the case, what do you think of his title reign?
I think it's been very solid. It's like you never want to be the guy who's the next champion from the most recognizable champion in the title's history. With Gunther, he's had a very historic run, and some might say he was the top Intercontinental Champion of all time, and I wouldn't disagree with you there. So the champion after the fact is always going to be compared no matter what. You could be the third champion after Gunther, and people aren't going to compare you as harshly. And with Sami Zayn, I think he was one of the right choices. I think between him and Gable, I think they were 1A, 1B in my eyes. And I think it was a good decision because Sami's such a lovable character. And it gives him a solidified singles championship run, something that he hasn't really had as a babyface. And then maybe after this goes, and if it's going well, and I think it has, you push him up to the heavyweight division because WWE, whether people like it or not, are promoting Sami Zayn as one of their stars currently.
Yes, and it is like the trifecta of his WrestleMania moments. You have the totally bizarre but awesome Johnny Knoxville match, and then you have the main event of night one with the Usos and KO, the culmination of Sami getting his one-uppance on the Bloodline, and then this year, the one to dethrone Gunther. And that is kind of building blocks to a potential, maybe him winning the belt one day at a WrestleMania, so to speak. So I could definitely see building blocks within a WrestleMania structure for like jump up moments in Sami Zayn's career for sure. But yes, I agree that it is a very strong transitional championship title reign, so to speak. And it's a transitional title because it made Gunther. Sami went on his run. It was strong. Now it's transitioning to make Bron Breakker. Do you agree with the sentiment that Bron Breakker's time at SummerSlam? And my other question for you, with him losing a month or so ago at Money in the Bank, personally, I think it does more than him than not in the long run. Give us your thoughts on that.
The thing is, a lot of people, I think, got a little up in arms too much about Bron Breakker losing to Sami Zayn, and people are like, oh, it's only one haluva kick, you know what I mean? And I'm just kind of like, are we trying to build the guy's finisher? Again, the guy defeated Gunther. We need to build him somehow. It's like, why not build
Jey Uso with it, with the whole WrestleMania thing.
Yeah, and it's just like one of those things where it's like, you got to give both guys something, People are like, oh, why not 3 haluva kicks? And it's like, look, Braun has an out that he is still new on the roster, at least in the main roster story. And what you also can do with that, with Bron Breakker, it takes away his undefeated streak on Raw. And people who've been hampered with streaks, it's usually more of a burden than it is an asset some of the times. Like, look what happened with Ryback. Look what happened with Goldberg. Look what happened. Umaga. Look what happened with Asuka to a certain degree. I think Asuka probably had the best streak booked. And and if you lose when you have that streak, The thing is, it's like it's usually from either chicanery or it doesn't help at all. So you don't want to go too far with it.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with everything going around here with Braun Breaker, I want to compare him to John Cena when he was a doctor of thugonomics. The year of 2003, right? He won pay-per-view match as, white meat babyface John Cena against Chris Jericho in 2002. Wasn't on any other pay-per-views except Rebellion. And then 2003, 2002, that's where he started the Doctor of Thugonomics character. You want to know how many singles one-on-one matches he won on pay-per-view?
Lost to Brock Lesnar, lost
Yep.
to The Undertaker,
Mhm.
lost to carry on.
Lost to Kurt Angle.
Yep.
And on SmackDown, lost number one contendership to Chris Benoit. Yeah, he did beat Benoit earlier in the year, but he lost to Benoit, and he lost to Eddie Guerrero in a parking lot brawl for
Great
the
match.
United States Championship. Great match, too.
Yep.
The thing is, it's like, did those losses hamper John Cena at all?
No, John Cena was also, I think his projection came maybe perhaps much later, where Braun
Mhm.
Breaker's projection is probably more sudden than Cena's. Cena's became organic.
Mhm.
Breaker's is kind of manufactured in a way. Both are
Mhm.
probably going to get there, but I agree with what you're saying. It will not bother him, but I think the perception of Breaker um, is a little bit more like I don't know what to think, like a Gunther kind of in a way.
Mhm.
To kind of look
And
recently way
I
too.
can definitely
Yeah,
see that point. I could definitely see like, it's like another world beater, just wants to run around and spear people, and a tremendous athlete that is Braun Breaker. He hits
yeah,
the ropes at like I think it's something like 25 miles an hour or something like that.
insane.
Again, very impressive athlete. But another thing is you could still develop that athlete
Yes.
into more of a three-dimensional character because hypothetically, let's say Braun won at Money in the Bank, or if he wins at SummerSlam. Once the next new shiny toy happens and WWE catches wind, catches fire, it's going to be old news Braun Breaker. And people are like, oh, when's Braun going to drop the title? And then, like, I'll look at my watch. It's like, it's only been 2-3 months. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
And it's just like, you got to give time to let these guys cook because guess what? Braun Breaker, he's not leaving tomorrow.
No.
He's not leaving like 3 years from now, 5 years from now. In best case scenario, he's here for a very, very, very long time because the company has a lot invested in him. So you can take your time to build Braun Breaker up. Now, that being said, I do think SummerSlam is the appropriate place to crown him as Intercontinental Champion just because it's a big stage and it's going to be Braun Breaker's first big PLE, big
Mhm.
four PLE. And it's going to be a good thing for both of them because one, this is actually Sami Zayn's first SummerSlam too, and then you can run with the actual story of Braun Breaker ruined Sami Zayn's first SummerSlam. Sami
This
Zayn's been with
is
the company. Yeah, yes,
wow. Is
yeah,
it Sami Zayn's first SummerSlam?
yep, he's been on the pre-show. He's never been on the actual SummerSlam card.
I know last year he was randomly off. 2022, he was. You're probably right. Wow.
Hmm.
Holy shit. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
not gonna
so
bring that. You're not gonna bring those facts and not have them back up, Richie. I know you.
yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
never guessed that, but you are 100% right. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Or
so
besides the
so again,
pre-show.
just kind of like putting it like in perspective. It took Sami Zayn, you know, 10 years, 10, 11 years with WWE to get to
16, 17,
SummerSlam,
yeah.
and with Braun Breaker only took him a couple, if you want to
Mhm.
include NXT. So again, it's one of those things where it's like people are going to progress in different ways. Is Braun Breaker ready for the Intercontinental Championship? My answer to that is yes. Does he need the Intercontinental Championship? No, but it can enhance him. And that kind of depends on what his competition is on Raw from then on out. You have a big roster on Raw, and Braun Breaker has yet to work with many, many people on that brand. You had Sammy, you have Ilya Dragunov,
Mhm.
you had Ricochet. Now with this, if Braun Breaker wins, you got to kind of migrate to other reliable workers. And do we have that on Raw? I believe we do. But on the
Yeah, you get some
babyface
good depth.
side,
Yeah.
besides Sammy, who do we have for Braun Breaker, hypothetically? You can do a Jey Uso, but would Braun Breaker defeat Jey Uso is the question? Who knows? So it's going to be very interesting to see on what Braun Breaker does if he does become Intercontinental Championship right here.
Yes. So At the Money in the Bank preview, I kind of said, if this match is going to be a long get match, I can see Sami Zayn kind of taking a chance, or let's just say catching Braun Breaker as the match wears on, right? He's tired, he runs around, and he's more of a rookie than not catching him when he's down like he did.
Mhm.
Would it be more impactful? Think Honky Tonk Man and Ultimate Warrior. Of course, Honky Tonk Man didn't know it was coming. But Sami Zayn might not know that that spear is coming. Would it be more impactful to have a 90-second defeat and have a monumental moment than going out there and having like a barn burner match? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really be upset by it, but at the same time, then in the back of my mind it goes, all right, why didn't he just do that Money in the Bank? Because the story
He learned
here,
his,
yeah,
watched the tape, learned his weakness. He saw that the left leg is back,
Mhm,
and the left leg is back. He's not ready to, I
mhm,
could see
yeah.
a football analogy, a sports analogy on why the second time around he would be able to kind of catch him with a spear, so to speak.
I understand, but as we're recording this, Sami Zayn did a interview backstage on Raw before he saved Jey Uso, saying that Braun has to be smart if he doesn't want the same thing to happen at Money in the Bank to happen to him again. And what happened was Braun got caught. He
Yes.
dominated the match, got caught. That's what led to his downfall. And this match is about correcting those wrongs, righting those wrongs, and
Yeah.
to show that Braun is not just a rookie, but he is indeed prepared for the Intercontinental Championship. And what you do there is you have a sequence in the match where Sami Zayn is lining up, or Braun's feigning an injury. Sami Zayn's in a false sense of security, and that's where Braun takes advantage. And that's how you do it from there. If you want to do the Sami Zayn, go to the corner, he runs to the corner, bing bada boom, tries to run. Braun with the amazing speed, spears Sami out of his boots. 1, 2, 3, new Intercontinental Champion. If that's the route WWE wants to go with Braun Breaker, you got to show that Braun Breaker's intelligence and has more versatility that we've seen from him so far, and that is this in-ring psychology game.
Yeah, for sure. But Sami Zayn bouncing out of this. A little prelude, little forest before the trees, right?
Mhm.
That him and Jey Uso linking up and defeating JD and Finn, your tag team champions. Do
Mhm.
you see them capturing the world tag team champions sooner rather than later?
I see them competing for them. I'm
Okay.
not sure if they're going to capture the tag titles, because both of them are in the singles ranks, and
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't be necessarily mad at it. I'm just gonna be like, okay, where's this going from here?
yeah,
That kind of thing. And also another interesting thing, if hypothetically Braun doesn't win, I think another interesting scenario is if Dominic takes the Intercontinental Championship from Sammy, and that's how you lead to Jay and Sammy against JD and Finn.
Judgment
Eh,
Day. Yeah,
and it's then you could kind of segue into there, and you just kind of play off that. But as it stands, like, I could definitely see a Sammy J team in the future. Like, we saw them work in tandem before, and the top of the card is getting pretty heavy right now,
yep,
and hypothetically, if whether Gunther wins, Jamie Priest loses, you still need more people in that mix. And I still feel like Sammy and Jay are more than capable to be in that mix themselves.
yeah, for sure. Good stuff. Just curious. I don't know.
Hmm.
Just a little prelude. It could be a red herring. You never know. But I
Never
feel
know.
like getting them back together in maybe a said tribal chief who is a free agent,
Hmm.
maybe popping in and kind of popping a number and a big surprise and a big moment saying, I need my band back together to,
Hmm.
take care of family business
Hmm.
and Oos, you're a part of this family again. So you never
It's
know.
not gonna be that easy. 3 years of trauma ain't gonna, dissipate just like that.
I know, I
I
know,
think this
I know.
this bloodline story, Roman's gonna go at it alone for a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see bloodline civil war at Survivor Series this year. I think they put it off possibly till next year, but who knows? Again,
Who
it's not my
knows?
company,
That's
not my not
that's
my not my deal.
that's not a match we are previewing. But overall, I'm going Braun Breaker, and I would fuck around and find out and do it in 30 seconds or
Mhm.
less. That's what I would do. How about you, Richie? What's your prediction and how would you do it?
I go Braun Breaker. I would say have Braun learn from his mistake from Money in the Bank. Catch Sammy off guard. Instead of going the power game, go the technical route. Like even if it's like holding tights or just like faking Sammy out. You got to do something that's unexpected with Braun Breaker. I'm not saying like hit him with the Frankensteiner off the top because we've seen that. We need more than the athletic Braun Breaker. We need to see the more personality side of Braun Breaker in this matchup. I'm not saying go full wolf dogs. I'm just saying we need to see him be underhanded. We need to see more than just the explosiveness. We need more of the conniving Braun Breaker.
For sure. I'm interested in this match, and I'm curious where on the card it shakes out as well. But for now, Richie, what was the latest episode as we get out of here?
So the latest episode I talked about on Wrestling Retold and Relive with Richie Mars, it was a flashback into the NWO and how people went up against the NWO and didn't necessarily look the greatest after the fact. It was with one of my dear good friends, Old School, aka Phoenix King. He was in there. And the week before, I did a 3.5 hour podcast going over the entire Authority story. With Pat the Wise Man. Now, Ryan, you listened to the episode. Thank you for that, by the way.
I think it
How
just
how
ended.
how was the how was the dialect from the beginning to end? I sounded very exhausted by the end, just going down memory lane.
Yes, it was a podcast not made for TikTok. It was made for a long form discussion, but it was a good discussion. It was a trip down memory lane, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Authority. I think you plastered your thoughts and all over it and kind of shined the Authority when it was supposed to be shined and really shit on the Authority when it should have been shitted on. So I
Mhm.
just can't believe that the Authority was 3.5 hours worth of length. But overall, right, it's 2013 all the way up to kind of
20
16 in a way. So yeah,
2016, yeah.
it was 3.5, 4 years with very little breaks in between. So
Mhm.
the mid aughts or the mid tens, whatever they want to say, of the
Yeah.
WWE is yeah, you can't really do that in short time. So overall, you did a pretty good job of getting down. So I would check that out for sure if you're a fan of that era, even if you're not, if you want to learn a little bit and take a trip down memory lane as well.
And if you want to see a grown man cry too on the podcast too, that'd be another place to check it out.
You could hear it anyways. You would gently weeps on the podcast. But yeah, again, guys, if you want to rank the top Intercontinental Championship matches in history, get at me, and we're gonna make it a countdown sooner rather than later. So you know where to find me, guys. And that's it for now, Richie. Catch you on the next one, buddy. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.